Hi there, welcome back. I am going to give a little intro to recursion. Actually, I've already made a video on this and I'll refer to that at the end, but this is a really basic overview of what recursion is, and hopefully this will orient you in the right direction for getting your head around it. Recursion is a relatively small unit in APCSA. It's not a huge amount of points, but there are a couple of concepts in here which are worth looking at, and they're not that hard to get. It's just a little bit of a different way of thinking, which sometimes scares people, but this won't be too scary. So, it's kind of like the movie Inception. If you've seen the movie Inception, that will give you an idea of what we're talking about here. Dream within a dream. You can also say a function calling itself. Okay, but the basic idea is that recursion is the idea of a problem getting solved by solving a small piece of the problem and then calling the same function again, calling itself to solve the rest of the problem. Okay, so it's when a function talks about itself, you think, well, how can a function define itself when it is itself? But hopefully I can make this a little clearer with one little slide that I've got coming up next. So I'm going to explain this concept to you by the process of eating dinner. Okay, and let's imagine that I've written a function here, a method, which is called eat dinner. And this is going to be my recursive function. If you take a look at it, it's pretty simple. It's an if and else statement. It says, if there's no more dinner, then return to regular life. Else, take a bite of the dinner and then eat the dinner, which is essentially the same function here as I've called here. So basically I'm taking a bite, that's making the dinner smaller by one bite, and eating the dinner. Eventually I'm going to hit this case here as I keep calling eat dinner. So let's imagine my dinner is a simple shape to make it easier. I'm going to say, okay, if there's no more dinner, well, there is more dinner. There's a lot of dinner. So I'm going to take a bite. And then I'm going to say, okay, now my dinner is essentially smaller, but there it is, my dinner. Eat that dinner. So it's going to call this function again, and it's going to run everything one more time. So it's going to do the same thing for the rest of it. So then what happens is we keep running these things here as my dinner gets eaten, taking a bite, eat the dinner, take a bite, eat dinner. Now there's no more dinner. Now the function will end, right? Because I'm not calling eat dinner anymore. So that is the end of that. So as you see here, that is a real simple way of looking at it, that we have basically a function that's calling itself, but it also has what we call here the base case. So a recursive function has two parts, and this is the main thing you need to understand. It has a recursive function call where it calls itself, but it also does like a small part of the job, so it will solve a small piece of the problem and call itself. And it will also have a base case of when finally in the end, when it gets to this small piece, it'll get solved, right? So that's the two parts of a recursive call. I also made another video, this was a while ago, I made a recursive video. You can probably find that in my other videos. And you can try and see if you can see that format in this video. It might be an interesting way to look at it. There are, you can probably see the same kind of step-by-step solution that is happening in the same structure. Okay, hope that was interesting. Recursion is quite an interesting concept. It's a little bit trippy at first, but with practice you'll get it.